Biography of Nelson Mandela, former President of South Africa. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, also known as Madiba, was born Rolihlahla Mandela on July 18, 1918, in Mvezo, South Africa. The name Nelson was later added by one of his teachers. His father, the chief of the Madiba clan of the Xhosa-speaking Tembu people, died when Nelson was still young, and he was raised by Jungintuba, the regent of the Tembu. Although Nelson had a claim to the chieftainship, he renounced it in order to become a lawyer. Nelson Mandela died on December 5, 2013, in Johannesburg. He was 95 years old. After his death was announced, his life was remembered and celebrated in South Africa as well as around the world. Nelson Mandela is known for several things, but perhaps he is best known for successfully leading the resistance to South Africa's policy of apartheid in the 20th century, during which he was infamously incarcerated at Robben Island Prison, 1964–82. He won the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1993, along with South Africa's president at the time. Mandela is also known for being the first black president of South Africa, serving from 1994 to 1999. Nelson Mandela had three wives: Evelyn Ntoko Mase, 1944–58, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, 1958–96, who was also a noteworthy anti-apartheid champion, and Graça Machel, 1998–2013, who was the widow of Samora Machel, former president of Mozambique, 1975–86, and was Mandela's wife at the time of his death in 2013. Nelson Mandela's writings included I Am Prepared to Die, 1964, Rev. Ed. 1986, No Easy Walk to Freedom, The Struggle is My Life, in his own words, and Long Walk to Freedom, 1994. The Presidential Years, 2017, released posthumously, is the unfinished draft of his second volume of memoirs. It was completed by Mandela Alinga. In 1962 he went to Algeria for training in guerrilla warfare and sabotage, returning to South Africa later that year. On August 5, shortly after his return, Mandela was arrested at a roadblock in Natal. He was subsequently sentenced to 5 years in prison. In October 1963 the imprisoned Mandela and several other men were tried for sabotage, treason, and violent conspiracy in the infamous Rivonia trial, named after a fashionable suburb of Johannesburg where raiding police had discovered quantities of arms and equipment at the headquarters of the underground Umkhonto we Sizwe. Mandela's speech from the dock, in which he admitted the truth of some of the charges made against him, was a classic defense of liberty and defiance of tyranny. His speech garnered international attention and acclaim and was published later that year as I Am Prepared to Die. On June 12, 1964, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, narrowly escaping the death penalty.